Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're cracking open a real classic, George Eliot's Silas Marner. We're going to break it down to its absolute core. So let me ask you this. What happens when you lose the one thing you treasure most? It's a simple question, right? But it's also incredibly powerful, and it's the engine driving this whole story. We're going to see how it plays out for two very, very different men.
All right, let's get into it. First up, we need to meet our two main guys. Their lives are on a total collision course, all happening in this sleepy little village called Raveloe.
So, on one side of the coin, you've got Silas Marner. He's this total outcast, a weaver who's kind of become like one of his own machines, just going through the motions, a stranger to everyone around him. Then you have Godfrey Cass. He's the complete opposite, the town's golden boy, set to inherit everything. But here's the kicker. Even though they're worlds apart on the social ladder, they are both deeply, profoundly alone.
Silas's story, man, it starts with an absolute catastrophe. See, back in his old life, he was a man of deep faith, a real part of his community. But then he gets framed for a crime he didn't commit. His best friend betrays him. And the worst part? His own church, the very system he trusted. He feels like God himself turns its back on him. His entire world just shatters. This betrayal is so deep, it drives him into exile in Raveloe, where he becomes a total recluse. The only thing he can trust anymore, the cold, hard gold he earns from his weaving. Now, you think the rich kid has it easy, right? Wrong. What's so fascinating here is that Godfrey, for all his status, is just as trapped as Silas, maybe even more so. He's living a total lie. He's got a secret wife, an opium addict, and a child he can't even admit exists. And his own brother is blackmailing him over it. All he wants is this perfect, respectable life with a woman named Nancy Lammeter, but he's completely paralyzed by the mess he's made and, frankly, by his own cowardice. So because both of them are so cut off from any real human connection, they both end up turning to substitutes. They find these false treasures to try and fill that massive void in their lives. Think about it from Silas's perspective. He's lost everything he believed in, his faith in God, his faith in people. He desperately needs something new to hold on to. His trust has been so completely destroyed, he just can't see a way back to connecting with anyone. And this is his solution. It's kind of heartbreaking, really. He swaps out the warmth of friends and love for the cold, hard reality of gold coins. He hoards them, counts them, even bathes his hands in them. They become his friends, his entire reason for being. Because in his mind, gold is the only thing in the world that can't turn on him. And here's the really brilliant parallel the book draws. Silas's treasure is literal gold. It's a dead, sterile thing he can count and touch. Godfrey, on the other hand, is chasing what you might call social gold. This image of a perfect, respectable life with Nancy. But that future is just as cold and lifeless, isn't it? Because it's all built on a foundation of lies and denial. Okay, everything has been building to this. Now we get to the one fateful New Year's Eve where these two separate, lonely paths don't just cross, they violently collide. It's just this incredible chain reaction of desperation and pure chance, all happening on one single night. You got Dunstan's greed, Godfrey's secret wife Molly's despair, and a toddler just wandering toward a light. All of it converges on Silas Marner's little cottage, and it's this moment that's going to set the stage for both complete ruin and incredible redemption.
So Silas comes home, and this is what he finds. The one thing he trusted. His entire world is just gone. That empty hole in the floor is a perfect symbol for the empty hole in his soul. He has absolutely nothing left. He is completely and utterly devastated.
But then, as he's just staring into that abyss, something impossible happens. Right at his lowest point, in his moment of total loss, something is given to him. Just not at all what he was expecting. Instead of cold, hard coins, his fingers touch soft, warm curls. The gold is gone, but in its place is something living. A little girl with hair like spun gold. She becomes his new treasure. A treasure that breathes and grows and loves him back. A treasure that will, finally, connect him back to humanity. Then Godfrey shows up. He finds his secret wife dead in the snow, and he sees his daughter, his own child, safe and sound inside Silas's cottage. And in that moment, what does he see? not a responsibility. He sees an escape hatch, a way out of his whole mess. And his silence, his choice to just turn and walk away, well, it seals his own fate. But without him even knowing it, it begins Silas's salvation.
All right, now we're going to jump forward. 16 years have passed, and we're about to see the massive, long-term consequences of that one single night. For Silas, that little girl, who he names Epi, becomes his bridge back to the world. He has to care for her, which forces him out of his little hermit shell. Her needs, her just being a kid, it unlocks all that love and trust he had buried for so long. It completely transforms him from this shriveled-up miser back into a human being, into a loving father. And Godfrey? Well, in stark contrast, he gets everything he thought he wanted. He gets to marry Nancy, he becomes the master of the big house, and he's miserable. Their home is childless and quiet, haunted by the secret he's kept for 16 years. The social gold he spent his life chasing. Turns out it's completely hollow.
But you know how it is. Secrets have a way of not staying buried. And a discovery down at the old stone pit is about to drag the entire past into the present and force a final, unavoidable reckoning.
The past literally comes bubbling up to the surface. They find Dunstan's skeleton at the bottom of the pit, and right next to it, Silas's stolen bags of gold. This bombshell just shatters the life Godfrey has so carefully built on his lies, and it forces him, finally, to tell Nancy everything.
So Godfrey and Nancy go together to Silas's little cottage. They're ready to claim Epi as their own, to give her the life of a lady. They basically present her with what seems like an impossible choice, right? You can have your birthright, wealth, status, a big house, or you can have the humble life you've always known with the man who raised you. But here's the thing. For Epi, it's not a choice at all. Not for a second. Her decision is instant and absolute. She chooses love over money, loyalty over lineage. Silas is her father, the only one she's ever known, and that's that.
And that leaves Godfrey to face the music. He has to accept the irreversible consequences of a lifetime of dodging his duties. All those years ago, he ran away from his responsibility. And now that he finally wants it back, it's too late. Time and love have forged a bond between Silas and Epi that he cannot ever break. The blessing he once shoved away from his door found a new home.
And that's really what the whole story leaves us with. This beautiful, powerful idea. That redemption, being saved, it doesn't always come from some angel in the sky. Sometimes it comes from something much simpler. The transformative power of just one human connecting with another. A hand reaching for yours, and sometimes that hand belongs to a little child.